We're now on Daf Tzadi Beis, Amud Beis, and we're talking according to Reb Shimon who implements the smicha on the soyer of avodas kol chavim. The word chai is coming to exclude the kohanim. Ein seiri avodas kol chavim tunim sich bi'aron el b'zkenim. And it makes sense that this Canaan who issued the erroneous psak that led to the violation of idolatry, they are the Bailim, and therefore they implement smicha. And as a result of the fact that they implement smicha as bailim, therefore it could be included in the as the second of two in the Gemir Leis Aloch Moshe Sinai of a carbon tzibur that requires smicha bebailim. Omer Rav Sheshes v'tizber adahach kamaisa mitar. So you're asking a steer from the first brisa. The first brisa, which seems to indicate that the Kohanim are the ones, according to Reb Shimon, who implement the smicha of the Sar Voskom. That can't be correct. Reb Shimon smicha v'bailim. So therefore, you can't take the first brisa literally and ask it as a contradiction of the second brisa. You have to reread the brisa as saying the following: Hapar par ton smicha v'ein seiri avodas kol ton smicha divrei Reb Yehuda Reb Shimon Omer Achai. Ton smicha be Aaron, vein see avodas come to him smicha be Aaron elabis kanim. Now let's see how Reb Shimon argues against Reb Yehuda. Hachi kama le Reb Shimon Reb Yehuda siri avodas kachavim bo smicha. You can't deny that the soyer of avodas kachavim requires smicha. Perhaps you had a tradition in which the Rebbeim told you that lo boy smicha, what they meant was that the Aaron lo hu shmila. What you really heard, but you weren't listening carefully enough, was that the Kohanim don't do the smicha on a soyer of avodas kol chavim, but rather it's going to be the zkenim umiyuta michayhu. And how do we derive the conclusion that the Kohanim will not do the smicha on the sar of avodas kol chavim, because in the sar mishtalech it says hachai, which is a superfluous word, and it's coming to exclude the Kohanim from the smicha on a sar of avodas kol chavim, in contrast to the sar mishtalech where the Kohanim do the smicha. And we need the bailim, and that's going to be the zkenim. Rabbi Yehuda. Lamali lematinu mikra va'amar avina k'miri shtei smichas b'tzibur. Now, Rabbi Yehuda is also committed to the halach l'moshe misinai that there are two karbonos tzibur that require smicha. We know that par helim dovshel tzibur is one of them. The other one, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is the sar mishalech, who, of course, Rabbi Yehuda holds that all of Klal Yisrael, including the Kohanim, are atoned through the Sar Mishtalech, and therefore the Kohen implementing the smicha on the Sar Mishtalech is Bailim. And therefore, by definition, we're going to have to exclude the case of the Sar Avodas Kol Chavim. So the answer is Girsa B'Alma, meaning Rabbi Yehuda did not need to prove it from the Psukim because he knows it from the Halacha Moshe Sinai. But Legirsa Bialma, meaning just for the sake of, learning up the Pshat and the Pasuk, that's what he told us. Rabbi Shimon, Seiri Avodas Kachavim Deboy Smicha Minolan. Okay, we know that if there will be Smicha on a Soyer Avodas Kachavim, it's not going to be the Smicha of the Kohanim, but rather Smicha of Ziknei Bezdin. But how do we know that there is Smicha at all? Nafkol Misanya. The Samach Yada. Oh, now we're talking about the Nasi who issued and violated a severe Avera b'Shogeg, and the Samach Yada Rosh Hasair. And now we have Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon again. So let's start with Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is going to say that the superfluous words of Rosh Hasair, it didn't have to say Rosh Hasair in the pasuk. L'rabo saribu sar nachshon l'smich. Right when they did the in the parsha that we read 2 days ago, the what's it called? The Chanukas Beis Hamikdash, the Chanukas Hamishkan. So each one of the 12 Nisim brought their karbanos. If I'm not mistaken, there were 3 different karbanos. Anyway, the first one to bring his karban, number one on the list, was Nachshon ben Aminadav from Shevet Yehuda, and we call it Seir Nachshon. And how do we know that that Seir required smicha? That we know it from the extra words Arosh HaSeir. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon Omer, L'Rabos Seiri Avodos Kol Chavim L'Smicha. Right, so this is the source from which Rabbi Shimon derives the conclusion that the soyer of avodas kol chavim requires smicha, and it's not going to be the smicha of the Kohanim, but rather the smicha of the Ziknei Yisrael. Shoyer Rabbi Shimon Omer, but that's a strange language. Shoyer Rabbi Shimon Omer, as if there were other cases. That's what the Gemara is going to pick up later. Kol chatos shenichnas dama lifnim te'una smicha. Any carbon, this is called the chatos hapnimios, where the dam has to go into the heichal for hazah purposes, requires smicha, and that would certainly include the soyer of avodas kol chavim, because the soyer of avodas kol chavim has an application of the dam inside the heichal. And that's based on a Mishnah in Zvachim, which is the Seirim and Nisrafim. Okay, fine. So the Gemara asks, Lama li lememra shahaya. What's the language shahaya? I mean, after all, Reb Shimon includes smicha in the case of Sarah Shal Vodas Kol Chavim because of the extra words here. So again, so the smicha in the case of the soyer of Avodah Zarah, we derived, according to Reb Shimon, from Rosh HaSoyer, those 2 words. We know that every chatos that requires a hazos adam bifnim in the heichal requires smicha, and the only other possible candidate for that is the parahelim davashal tzibur. So what does Reb Shimon add when he says Shahoyer Reb Shimon Omer? And the Gemara says Simona be'alma. It's only a zikaron. It's only something as a mnemonic device. Now the Gemara asks the following question: V'ema soira nasa b'fnim. How does Reb Shimon know that the extra words of Rosh HaSoir are referring to the Soir of Avodah Zarah? Maybe it's the Soir Pnimi. And the answer is Dumya de Sar Nasi, because in the parsha we're talking about Sar Nasi and Mechaper al Averos Mitzvah Yedua, and therefore this Sa'ir of Avodas Kol Chavim is also on a Mitzvah Yedua, whereas the Sa'ir HaMishtaleach, the Sa'ir HaPnimi is not for a Mitzvah Yedua. Why does Reb Shimon need a pasuk for the smicha of a soyer of avodas kol chavim? After all, we have the halacha Moshe we've seen in Ravini of 2, and we have the parahelim davashal tzibur. Now we're adding the soyer of avodas kol chavim. It's a hilchos cry. The Mikra, I only had the pasuk Havamin Zivchei Shalmei Tzibur. We're talking about Shavuos now, and we're talking about the Shalmei Tzibur of Shavuos. Havamina. I would have thought that those Shlomim, even though they are Shalmei Tzibur, they require smicha based on this pasuk. Ki kasha mas nisin dahach pirka. Okay. This requires a 10-minute discussion, which we don't really have. But I'll try to make it as quick as possible. And we're referring to the 5th parak, which is called Kol Menachos. And Omer Reb Shimon, Shlosha minim te'unim sholosh mitzvos. Right, there are four mitzvahs, and in each one of Shlosha minim, you have three out of the four, and you drop one of the four. So the mitzvahs are smicha, tnufa, and there's tnufa mechayim and tnufa leachar misa. And each one of the mentioned karbanos requires two out of the three. I'm sorry, I said three out of four. I meant two out of the three. Reb Shimon says to the Mishnah that the Shalmei Tzibur of Chag HaShavuos requires Tnufa Michayim and Tnufa Liachar Shechita, but not Smicha. Is Leisei B'Kal V'Chomer. We could have learned Kal V'Chomer Yuzivchei Shalmei Tzibur Te'unim Smicha Mikal V'Chomer Ma Shalmei Yochid She'ein Te'unim Tnufa Michayim. In the case of a Shalmei Yochid, Tnufa is only Liachar Shechita, and nevertheless Te'unim Smicha is therefore, I would think that the Shalmei Tzibur, which require Tnufa, even Michayim, should certainly require Smicha, and therefore I need the pasuk to exclude Shalmei Tzibur, which I would have derived Smicha and a Kavachom from Shalmei Yoch. Itzrich Hilchah. So why do I need the Halacha Moshe Sinai? Oh, so I need the Halacha Moshe Sinai. Oh, but now let's flip it around. Once I have the pasuk, why do I need the Halacha Moshe Sinai? Hilchah Lo Yadinon Hai Niu. Komashmon. Okay. Amashmon dum yudisar nasi. The bechaper al averus mitzvah yidu. No. Kol karbonos hayochitunim smicha chutz mi bechar maser u pesach. And now we're going to derive these halachos of a carbon yachid that doesn't require smicha in those three cases, and we need psukim and a mitzvah Shem that we will leave for tomorrow. So we're pretty much caught up, Baruch Hashem, and tomorrow's daf will be Tzadi Gimel, and we meet at 9:30. Is that correct? I'm just thinking out loud. I'm in transit. Hopefully everything will work out for 9:30. If there's any change, I'll I'll let you know.